About we're buying oil from Venezuela. When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it. Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland.
Right, everyone, welcome to Post Media Services. We continue to give updates with regards to the actions of Donald Trump in Venezuela, where he went there with the military, U.S. military went there to get the president of Venezuela, handcuff him, and what can majorly be described as kidnapping. Donald Trump has said a lot ever since then. He actually didn't mince words when he said that they are going to be in charge of Venezuela, or they are going to govern Venezuela. And then let us not forget that the present update now is that the Venezuela Supreme Court has appointed the vice president to Nicolas Maduro as the president. And the U.S. is saying that they are going to administer Venezuela, and I don't know how that will be possible now, since that is a sovereign state, and then there is a sitting president. Of course, U.S. Donald Trump rather used that opportunity to warn the sitting president to be careful, to be mindful, and to be watchful that the U.S. may come for her if she doesn't do the right thing. Now, of course, what does that tell us in this global order? It seems that Donald Trump is kind of violating international law. Yes, we saw a lot of Venezuelans. I'm happy with this development.
Todos los organismos internacionales, ¿dónde están, carajo? ¿Dónde están? Todos juntos vamos a salir a defender la patria, porque esta patria es nuestra, esta patria es de nuestras próximas generaciones, esta patria es de nuestros hijos y merece que nosotros brindemos y ofrendamos la vida por ella, porque Venezuela es nuestra, Venezuela se respeta. Pónganse alertas, comunidades, porque no vienen por nosotros, vienen por el petróleo y van por ustedes también. Entiéndanlo, que ellos aquí quieren petróleo para continuar sus guerras. Entiendan que ellos aquí quieren nuestras tierras para poder seguir alimentando guerras. No son un ejército de paz. La hora de la tierra es la hora de la chiquita, y aquí nos vemos, compatriotas, defendiendo la tierra. Esta tierra es nuestra. ¡Viva Venezuela!
Donald Trump has once again shown his contempt for the Constitution and the rule of law. Let's be clear. The President of the United States does not have the right to unilaterally take this country into war, even against a corrupt and brutal dictator like Maduro. The United States does not have the right, as Trump stated this morning, to run Venezuela. Congress must immediately pass a war powers resolution to end this illegal military operation and reassert its constitutional responsibilities. Trump's attack on Venezuela will not make the United States and the world safer. Quite the contrary. This brazen violation of international law gives a green light to any country on earth that may wish to attack another nation to seize their resources or change their governments. This is the horrific logic of force that Putin used to justify his brutal attack on Ukraine. Trump and his administration have made it clear that they want to revive the Monroe Doctrine, a belief that claims that the United States has the right to dominate the affairs of the hemisphere. They have spoken openly about controlling Venezuela's oil reserves, the largest in the world. Let's make no mistake about it. This is rank imperialism. It recalls the darkest chapters of U.S. interventions in Latin America, which have left a terrible legacy. It will and should be condemned by the democratic world.
But of course, and a lot of them come up to say that yes, whatever people may think, the Venezuelan president, the throne of the post Venezuelan president, is run an illegal administration. Is someone whose action is against rule of law, is into drugs. And then in a particular interview, we had Donald Trump saying practically that Venezuela are almost empty into American soil. That is to tell you that a lot of Venezuela go into America to deal in drugs, and then turning that society to a drug addicted society, which Donald Trump has vowed to fight. Yeah, but of course, the present development now is that here in Nigeria, there are videos that surface online of Nigerians protesting against the arrest of Venezuelan president. I don't know how that concerns Nigeria, but
the PASOK, member the ruling party, the socialist ruling party in Venezuela, as a threat to the US. We all know that this is live. They did it to Gaddafi in Libya. They did it in Syria. They did it in Afghanistan. The funniest thing about Afghanistan was that even when their puppet was in power for 20 years and America was fighting Taliban, they cannot even develop Afghanistan. Neither do they even solve any problem for the people of Afghanistan. We all know that it is one of the important things we must know is that Venezuela is sitting on the highest oil reserve in the world. Venezuela oil remains the only country that have enough highest oil reserve, and this is why the US is going to Venezuela to start a war where there is no war. We are calling on Nigerian working people, we are calling on the people of the world to call on President Trump to stop his aggression against the Venezuelan people, Colombia, Nicaragua, Cuba, and all other countries that but most importantly that I want to stress out about this ongoing international campaign, because as we are here now, more than 70 in America, people across 17 cities are also protesting. In Europe, in South Africa, in Ghana, people are protesting against US war in Venezuela. One thing that I want Nigerians to know and people to know, people of the world to know, is that the war in Venezuela is about oil. And there is nothing, the only thing that can stop the war is by the people by rising against Trump's administration. The reality is also that when there are issues of oil, America wants to go there and plunder. Not America now, because all of them are American. The United States remain a capitalist empire who kills. When they preach human rights, today is international human rights. But when they even preach human rights, you realize that what they do in the United States has something to do with human rights. On the election, I want to say something. I need to tell people what they are doing in America is not election. What they do is money bags protesting against money bags. And it's important to stress it that whatever it was, the United States government have no right to intervene in internal affairs of any other country like Venezuela. And it is important to also stress that the Venezuelan people are ready to confront the monsters of imperialism. And as we speak, the Congress in the United States has not been briefed upon the actions Trump has been taking.
Este es un llamado a los organismos internacionales. ¿Dónde están, carajo?
Of course, if that is the case, we watch as things pans out. But at the moment, the U.S. president has decided to hold on to Venezuelan president. He said he's going to bring him to justice. He has also warned the president of Colombian president, because it seems they are partners in crime. He's a partner in crime to Nicolas Maduro. So we don't know. We keep our fingers crossed and see how things pans out in these two nations. But in the meantime, U.S. President Donald Trump is presently enraged now. He's talking tough. We don't know which country to hit next. He's going to hit next. So he's telling everyone that, look, there's a new sheriff in town. He's the global police now. He's the global chief global police now. He's the one in charge of global affairs. So if you don't behave yourself, you are going to collect, just as we said here in Nigeria. So we continue to watch as things pans out. In the meantime, US said all sanctions imposed on Venezuela oil still stands, irrespective of military action that was recently taken. So we continue to keep our finger crossed and see as things pans out. This is Pulse Media. I will see you in another video.